The accusation began as a whisper. Then it became a stare. Then it became a phone camera pointed at her like a weapon. And by the time the police arrived, the story had already decided who she was. Danielle Carter stood near the main entrance of the mall, one hand open, palm visible, the other gently holding the fingers of a small blond boy who was shaking like he'd been dropped into a nightmare. He looked 6, maybe 7, white, freckled, red-eyed from crying. He clung to Danielle like she was the only thing in the world that wasn't moving too fast. Danielle's voice stayed calm, low, steady. "It's okay," she said, kneeling so she was level with him. "We're going to find your dad." The boy hiccuped and whispered, "Don't let them take me." Danielle blinked once. "Who?" He didn't answer. A woman a few feet away lifted her phone. Not subtly, not accidentally. High, vertical. The modern version of raising your hand and yelling, "Look." "I knew it," the woman said loudly, like she was narrating a crime documentary. "That's not her child." Danielle felt the room shift. It's hard to explain to people who haven't lived it how a space changes when suspicion enters it, how the air becomes heavy with permission to interpret you. Heads turned, eyes scanned Danielle like they were looking for evidence on her skin. The woman stepped closer, phone still recording. "What's his name?" she demanded. Danielle kept her tone even. "He told me his name is Noah. He's lost. I'm helping him." The woman's mouth tightened. "And you expect us to believe that?" Danielle inhaled slowly. "I found him crying near the escalator. I'm waiting with him." The woman's voice got sharper. "Waiting with him? Alone? No security? No staff? You just took him?" "I didn't take him anywhere," Danielle said, still kneeling. "He's standing right here where everyone can see us." "That's what they all say," the woman snapped. That word, "they," hit like a quiet slap. The boy squeezed Danielle's fingers harder. "Please," he whispered, "don't let her take me." The woman's eyes widened like she'd just been handed proof. You could almost see her adrenaline. "Oh my God, did you hear that?" she said to the crowd. "He's scared. He's scared of her." Danielle's stomach dropped. "No, he's not," Danielle started. But she was already losing, because the boy wasn't scared of Danielle. He was scared of being pulled away from the only person who had stopped and helped him when he was alone. But fear doesn't care about accuracy. Fear cares about direction. And in that moment, the direction was her. Mall security arrived, 2 men in dark uniforms moving with the confidence of authority. "Ma'am," one said, voice polite but cautious, "we're going to need you to step back." Danielle immediately released the boy's hand. He panicked. "No!" he cried, reaching for her again. The crowd took that as confirmation. Phones rose like a field of metal flowers. Danielle lifted both hands, palms out, like she'd been trained for this her whole life. "I'm not resisting," she said softly, because she already knew how this could be framed. The security guard looked at the boy, then at Danielle. "Do you know her?" the guard asked him. Noah shook his head. Danielle's heart sank. Not because it meant she was guilty, because she knew what it would mean to them. The woman filming practically vibrated with satisfaction. There it is. There it is. He doesn't know her. Security called police. The mall's entrance became a stage. People gathered closer, not to help, not to clarify, but to witness. Like truth was entertainment. 2 officers arrived, one older, one younger. The older officer looked at Danielle like he'd already made a decision and was just waiting for her to confirm it with the wrong tone. "Ma'am," he said, "step away from the child." Danielle did, slow, controlled. The boy screamed now. "She didn't do anything," he shouted, voice cracking. "She helped me." The officer didn't react to the boy's words. He reacted to Danielle's presence. "What's your name?" he asked. "Danielle Carter." "You have ID?" She nodded and slowly reached for her purse. The older officer's hand moved toward his belt. Danielle froze. "Can I reach?" she asked calmly. He didn't answer immediately. Then, "Go ahead." She handed over her ID. The officer looked at it longer than he needed to. The younger officer spoke to Noah gently, trying to calm him. "Where's your dad, buddy?" Noah pointed vaguely toward the food court. "I told her I lost him," Noah sobbed. She stayed. The crowd didn't soften. The woman filming didn't lower her phone. Because the story wasn't changing. Not while it was getting views. Then a man pushed through the crowd like a body breaking water. "Noah!" The boy's entire face transformed. He ran. The father scooped him up, holding him so tight it looked like he was afraid the world would steal him again. Relief swept the entrance like a wave, and then something colder followed it. Because now everyone wanted an ending. And in endings, someone has to be guilty. The father looked between Danielle and the officers. "What happened?" The woman filming stepped forward, almost triumphant. "She was trying to take your child. We stopped her." The father's face tightened, confusion turning to fear in real time. Danielle tried to speak. "I found him crying!" The older officer raised a hand, not aggressively, but dismissively. "Ma'am, we'll sort it out at the station." Danielle's mouth went dry. "I didn't do anything wrong. We'll sort it out," he repeated, and this time it sounded like a warning. The father didn't say anything. He held his son tighter and looked away from Danielle. And that silence, his silence, was the first real betrayal. Danielle was placed in the back of the squad car. Not cuffed, but contained. As the door shut, she saw the woman filming step closer to the father. Still recording, still narrating, still feeding the world the version of the story it craved. At the station, the questions weren't about what happened. They were about why she was there. Why were you alone with him? Why did you touch him? Why did he hold your hand? Why didn't you immediately find a white employee? Why didn't you hand him to the nearest mother? Why didn't you call 911 right away? Each question carried its own accusation. "You were wrong to be trusted," Danielle answered calmly. She was a pediatric nurse. She saw a lost child. She stayed visible near the entrance. She waved at security, who took several minutes to arrive. She kept her hands open. She did everything right. But right is not always what matters. What mattered was how it looked. And how it looked was now a viral video. By midnight, the clip had been re-uploaded hundreds of times. The version that spread fastest wasn't the full story. It was the edit. Danielle kneeling. Noah saying, "Don't let them take me." The crowd shouting. A caption on top. "Black woman caught with white child. Kidnapping attempt?" The comment section was a war zone. Some defended her. But the algorithm didn't reward nuance. It rewarded rage. People slowed down the footage, analyzing her face like it was evidence. "She's too calm." "Why is she so calm? That's not normal." "She's lying." "She knows what she did." "She thought she could just take him." And then someone posted her name, her workplace, her address. The next day, Danielle woke up to a voicemail from her clinic supervisor. "Danielle, don't come in today." She heard the tightness in his voice. "We've received calls." "How many?" she asked. A pause. "Enough." Danielle stood in her kitchen, staring at her scrubs hanging on a chair. Her entire life had been built on care. Now she was being framed as danger. That afternoon, a civil complaint was filed, not by the state, by a private child protection group affiliated with local politicians. They claimed Danielle caused emotional distress. They demanded a public apology. They demanded she be banned from the mall. They demanded she attend sensitivity training. Danielle almost laughed at that last one until she realized none of it was meant to win in court. It was meant to keep the story alive. Because stories don't need truth. They need momentum. Then the DA's office made a statement. No charges. At this time. But they were reviewing the incident. Danielle understood immediately. At this time meant we're watching the public reaction. At the first court hearing, the room was full. Not because of justice, because of spectacle. The woman who filmed was there, seated confidently like she was the hero of the story. Her name was Kendra Sloan, a local community advocate, a rising figure in suburban politics. She gave interviews outside the courthouse. "I'm not racist," she said into microphones. "I'm a mother. I protect children." That line traveled faster than any evidence. Danielle sat at the defense table, hands folded, face calm. Not because she wasn't terrified, because she knew what panic would be interpreted as. The prosecutor, young, ambitious, opened with a sentence that lit the room on fire. "This case is about trust." Danielle's attorney, Ms. Patel, waited, then stood. "This case is about assumption." The first witnesses were mall security. They testified they saw Danielle holding the child's hand. They admitted they didn't see her pull him anywhere. They admitted she didn't run. They admitted she stayed visible, but their tone still carried suspicion, like visibility itself was strategy. Then Kendra Sloan testified. She described her instinct. She said Danielle looked wrong. She said the child seemed frightened. Ms. Patel stepped forward slowly. "What training do you have in identifying kidnappers?" Kendra frowned. "I don't need training to know when something feels off." "And what specifically felt off?" Kendra hesitated. "She didn't match." "Match what?" Kendra's eyes flickered toward the jury. "A mother." The courtroom tightened. Patel didn't pounce immediately. She let the silence do the work. "You mean she didn't look like you expected a caregiver to look?" Patel said softly. Kendra snapped, "Don't twist my words." "I'm not twisting," Patel replied. "I'm clarifying. Was it her behavior or her appearance?" Kendra's jaw clenched. It was everything. "Everything is not evidence," Patel said. Then came the body cam footage. The prosecutor played it like a triumph. Danielle in the squad car, the officer saying, "We'll sort it out." Danielle's calm voice. The prosecutor leaned into it. "Notice how composed she is. Notice the lack of normal concern." Patel stood. "That's not guilt. That's survival." The judge, an older man, shifted slightly. Patel continued. "Some people learn early that emotion becomes a threat in the wrong hands." The jury leaned in. Then the defense played the full mall security footage. Not the viral clip, the full timeline. Noah crying alone, people walking past, women glancing at him and continuing, men stepping around him like he was inconvenient. Danielle stopping, kneeling, speaking gently, looking around for security, waving, staying visible, never pulling, never guiding him away. Noah clinging to her because she was the first adult who treated him like a child, not a liability. The courtroom shifted, not fully, but enough. Then the father testified. Mark Evans. He looked exhausted. He described losing Noah for 15 minutes. He admitted he didn't accuse Danielle. He admitted he never believed she tried to kidnap Noah. Then Patel asked the question that turned the air sharp. "Mr. Evans, why didn't you say that at the mall?" Mark's throat tightened. I didn't know what to say. Everyone was yelling. Patel stepped closer. "Did you believe the crowd?" Mark's eyes flickered. "A part of me started to, because they were so sure." Patel nodded slowly. "That certainty, did it make you feel safe?" Mark swallowed hard. "Yes." "And did the certainty have anything to do with her being a black woman holding your white child?" Silence exploded in the room. The prosecutor objected. The judge hesitated. Then, "Answer if you can." Mark's voice was barely audible. Yes. A sound moved through the courtroom like wind. Not applause, not outrage. Something heavier. Recognition. Then Noah testified. Small suit, feet dangling off the chair. His voice was clear. "She helped me," Patel asked gently. "Were you scared of her?" Noah shook his head hard. "I was scared of the loud lady." Kendra Sloan stiffened. Noah continued, innocent and devastating. "She was yelling, and I thought she was going to take me from the nice lady." Patel paused, letting it land. "Did Danielle try to take you somewhere?" "No." "Did she tell you to go with her?" "No, she said stay here." "Why did you hold her hand?" Noah shrugged. "Because she didn't leave." The verdict came quickly. Not guilty. Danielle exhaled for the first time in weeks. But the courtroom didn't feel relieved. It felt split. Because acquittal doesn't heal narrative, it threatens it. Outside, Kendra Sloan spoke to the press with tears in her eyes. "I respect the verdict," she said, "but my instincts will never change." The reporters loved that line. It kept the story alive. That night, Danielle's apartment was vandalized. A note was taped to her door. "Stay away from our kids." The police report was filed. No suspects. "Hard to identify," they said, like it was weather. Her clinic placed her on indefinite leave. Not because she did anything wrong, because parents were uncomfortable. Uncomfortable was the new guilty. Danielle sat at home and watched commentators debate her humanity like it was entertainment. One channel called her a hero. Another called her a symbol of rising danger. A politician referenced the case during a speech about protecting families. He never said her name. He didn't need to. The crowd knew exactly who he meant. Then came the civil lawsuit, filed by Kendra Sloan's organization. They sued Danielle for emotional distress and reckless endangerment. A claim so absurd, it sounded like satire. But it wasn't meant to win. It was meant to punish. Danielle met Mark in a quiet diner. He looked like a man who hadn't slept since the mall. "I'm going to testify for you," he said. Danielle stared at her coffee. "Why now?" Mark's voice cracked slightly. "Because my son keeps asking why the nice lady got in trouble for helping him." Danielle's throat tightened. "And what do you tell him?" Mark swallowed. "That I was a coward." Danielle didn't know what to say, because his honesty didn't undo what silence had done. The civil trial was uglier than the criminal hearing, because the tone was different. In criminal court, they needed evidence. In civil court, they needed a feeling. Kendra's lawyers painted Danielle as reckless. They suggested she inserted herself. They implied she might have alternative motives. They never said the word. What could have happened? Danielle watched what could have happened. Danielle watched her and realized something cold. Kendra didn't see herself as a liar. Kendra saw herself as righteous. That's what made her dangerous. Patel cross-examined her carefully. "You went live within 30 seconds of approaching Ms. Carter, correct?" "I documented for safety." "You narrate crime content online, correct?" "I raise awareness." "You've built a following by posting suspicious behavior videos, correct?" Kendra's smile stiffened. "I protect children." Patel tilted her head. "How many of your awareness videos feature black people?" The courtroom went still. Kendra's attorney objected. The judge allowed it. Kendra hesitated. "I don't keep track." Patel nodded as if she expected that answer. "Do you remember a video from last year titled, 'Watch Out at Target'?" Kendra blinked. Patel displayed it. Kendra filming a black father picking up his own child. The caption, "He's watching kids too long." The man had been cleared. Kendra never removed the video. Patel played the comment section. Thousands of people calling the father a predator. His name, his job, his address posted, his life damaged. Patel turned back to Kendra. "Do you understand that your instinct has consequences?" Kendra's eyes flashed. My instinct keeps kids safe. Patel's voice lowered. No, your instinct creates villains for engagement. Kendra's face hardened. That's your opinion. Patel took one step closer. It's documented. Then Mark Evans testified. He admitted his silence again. He admitted the crowd influenced him. He admitted race influenced the crowd. He admitted he didn't speak because speaking would have meant contradicting a room full of people who felt powerful in their certainty. Then he said something that cracked the trial wide open. Kendra came to me after the incident, Mark said quietly. The room sharpened. Patel lifted her chin. Came to you? Mark nodded. She asked me to say Danielle tried to pull Noah away. She said it would help the case and make sure it doesn't happen again. Kendra's face snapped toward him. That is not true, she hissed. Mark looked at her. It is, Patel asked. Did you refuse? Mark's voice tightened. Yes. And then her people started calling, messaging, saying I was endangering my son by protecting her. The courtroom erupted in murmurs. The judge banged his gavel. Kendra sat rigid, eyes bright with anger. Not shame, anger. Because to her, Mark had betrayed the narrative. Patel asked, Mr. Evans, why didn't you tell anyone sooner? Mark's voice broke. Because I didn't want my family to be the next target. Silence swallowed the room, because everyone understood what he meant. Danielle felt a slow, hot wave of something, vindication, grief, rage. She couldn't separate them. The civil verdict came in Danielle's favor. Not just a win, a statement. The judge condemned the lawsuit as retaliatory. Kendra Sloan's organization was ordered to pay damages. Kendra walked out of court with her jaw clenched and her phone already in her hand. That night, Kendra posted a new video. Not an apology, a warning. I tried to protect children and got punished, she told her followers, eyes wet, voice trembling with manufactured sincerity. This is what happens when you speak up. They come for you. Her followers erupted. The damage didn't stop. It multiplied. Danielle's inbox filled with threats again. Some people didn't care that she won. Winning had become part of the conspiracy narrative. That's how modern truth dies, not by being disproven, by being reframed. A week later, Danielle returned to the mall. Not to prove something. Felt like a camera. Every pause behind her felt like a camera. Every pause behind her felt like danger. She walked past the escalator. The same spot. The memory hit like a flash grenade. Then she saw a little girl crying. Different child. Different day. But the same loneliness. The girl looked about 5, black, small shoulders shaking. Danielle stopped. Instinct rose first, then fear rose faster, because she knew what helping had cost her. She looked around for security. No one moved. People passed the girl like she was invisible. Danielle felt her heart slam. If she walked away now, she would never forgive herself. If she stayed, she might become a headline again. She knelt slowly, keeping distance. Hey, she said softly. Are you lost? The girl nodded, eyes wide. Danielle raised her voice toward the nearest kiosk. Can someone call security? There's a lost child. A man glanced over and kept walking. Danielle felt a cold realization. No one was filming now. No one was performing safety. Because this child didn't trigger their fear. This child didn't feel like a story worth telling. Security finally arrived, late, uninterested. Ma'am, step back, the guard said, bored. Danielle did. The little girl reached for Danielle anyway. Don't go, she whispered. Danielle's throat tightened. She stayed nearby until the child's aunt arrived, frantic and relieved. The aunt thanked Danielle with shaking hands, and then, like it was nothing, said quietly, "Thank you for doing what people don't do for us." Danielle walked out of the mall and sat in her car for a long time, because that sentence revealed the entire country in one breath. That night, Noah's father texted her. Noah had drawn another picture. Stick figures again. This time there were three: a blonde boy, a black woman, and a little black girl, all holding hands. Underneath, in uneven letters, "Helping is good." Danielle stared at it until her eyes burned, because she knew helping was good. She also knew helping could destroy you. And the terrifying question wasn't whether Danielle would help again. The terrifying question was whether anyone watching had learned the right lesson, or just learned how to choose the right child to care about. Tell me something, and don't answer fast. If you saw a black woman holding a white child, would you call it danger? But if you saw a white woman holding a black child, would you call it kindness? And if your instinct changes depending on who's holding whose hand, is it instinct? Or is it training? Because somewhere tonight, another child is crying in public, and someone is deciding in real time whether that child is worth stopping for. And the scariest part? The decision won't be made by law. It'll be made by the crowd. And crowds don't need evidence. They only need a story.